Hey, this is Senator Justin Reedy coming to you as we get towards the end of the 11th week of the 2026 General Assembly session. This week is a little bit of an eye of the hurricane where we have had crossover. So all the bills that the Senate passed are over in the House, and bills that the House passed are coming over to the Senate. We start to have hearings in our committees this week on House bills, but the first bills we hear are usually ones that are the same as Senate bills that have passed. And so it's a pretty quick day. We will see over the next few days heading into later next week is when things will pick back up in intensity. So there's this little bit of a lull. I thought it would be a good time to go over some terminology and some things you may be hearing as it relates to energy, the cost of energy, and also where our ratepayer money goes and why are our energy bills so expensive. We've been talking about this session. But one of the things you'll hear about as it relates to balancing the budget, as it relates to giving ratepayer relief and other types of project is the SEEF. They're taking money out of the SEEF. What is the SEEF fund? Well, it stands for Strategic Energy Investment Fund. My handwriting is atrocious. Don't write me about that. Strategic Energy Investment Fund. And where does money that goes into that fund come from? Well, essentially, I'm going to boil this down without having to use a ton more acronyms. Our state is part of the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, which is a multiple other states in the Northeast that have agreed that they're going to reduce all of their energy carbon emissions by 50%, or they're going to get up to 50% of their energy portfolio from renewables by the year 2031. So every year, energy companies in those states, including Maryland, are required to have higher and higher amounts of renewable energy as part of their energy portfolio. The idea was it'll stimulate, one of the reasons was it was supposed to stimulate growth in the renewable energy sector in our state. So we're now up to this year, 38% of your energy portfolio from BGE or Pepco or any of these energy companies is supposed to come from renewables. But not just any renewables, they actually make it to where they have to be certain kinds of tier one renewables like solar or wind, or there has to be a certain amount of it from those. There has to be a certain amount of it from even like geothermal. And again, in most cases, I got no problem with renewable energy. But what they're doing is these targets are way too high. Energy companies will not meet these targets. They're too high. There's not the available energy at that level available to be that renewable. So what happens when you don't meet those goals? The energy company is assessed a fine. And that fine, which they have to go buy, they also have to go buy credits to use dirtier energy. So the energy companies in our state, because we have to import so much of it, are having to go to other states and they're buying coal-fired electricity and natural gas electricity and other forms of electricity. And so when they pay that fine for not hitting that 38% target this year, that fine goes into the SEEF fund. Who pays that fine though, really? They don't just eat the cost, they pass it on to you in the form of higher rates. And what's this money supposed to be used for? Well, the idea when they created this many years ago was that it would be used to invest in energy efficiency products, invest in creating more renewable energy, and doing other types of energy efficiency projects around the state. I'm shorthanding it, but that was largely the goal. But what it's turned into, because hundreds of millions of dollars every year go into this. And so what it's turned into is some money gets used for the stated purpose, but it's also money that's sitting around without a dedicated purpose. And politicians love money, your money, sitting around without a dedicated purpose because it means it can be a slush fund. So what we've had happen is the governor actually the last couple of years, this year and last year, was taking money out and giving some of it back in the form of ratepayer relief. You got two $40 checks or two $40 credits on your bills last year as part of that. So congratulations. This year, he only wanted to do $100 million. He wanted to cut it in half. He's taking, though, almost $300 million out of the SEEF fund to balance his budget. So it's money that you paid in, basically, energy tax you paid in, energy you paid in, and they're having to use a chunk of that to balance the budget. They're using it for some other things. The point is, you hear about the SEEF fund, and you also, as it relates to some of the different economic issues, you also, as we talk about energy bills and energy bills being high, if we were not in RGGI, this would not pretty much exist. The states that are non-RGGI states, which is most of them, regional greenhouse gas emission states, their rates are lower. Their energy prices are lower, some significantly lower. And then also going back to what I was talking about, the renewable portfolio standards, where these energy companies have to meet 38%, and they have to get a certain amount of that renewable energy from different places. Over the years, the General Assembly is taking out things that you used to be able to utilize as renewable energy, like burning trash is no longer considered a renewable energy. I kind of agree with that, but when you take that out, that makes it even harder to get to those RPS goals, which adds more fines that get passed on to you. They used to allow hydroelectric used to be considered a tier 1 renewable energy. It's not anymore. So there's all these really bad energy policies that have built up over the years. The ones that have been, I've pretty much looked back to be sure. Anything that's come before me since I've been in the General Assembly, I've voted against things that add energy cost and add these ridiculous mandates. There's nothing wrong with wanting to have more renewable sources of energy when they make sense. Offshore wind, as I've said, is a total boondoggle, makes no financial sense. But there's nothing wrong with renewables. But the motivation behind it is always that things like natural gas are somehow bad or evil or going to end the world, which is also not true. So what we need to do, I think, a real energy. We're going to be debating this energy relief bill that the Democrats are putting forward. They're taking a couple of our ideas in a very small way, but there's a lot of other things that they're not doing that we should be doing. We should be getting out of RGGI. We should be changing at the very least, we should be changing those RPS standards to be more realistic. So you're not paying more and more on an energy bill because your electric company is being fined because of basically an arbitrary policy that's been set in relation with other states. So I wanted to just give a little breakdown of that. Basically, there's been hundreds of millions of dollars that gets in this fund and different ways that it gets used. It's all ratepayer money. It's all ratepayer money. So if we want to help ratepayers, we could stop taking so much from them and adjust some. I'd love to get rid of these policies. We're outnumbered 2.5 to 1 in the General Assembly, Democrat to Republican. But even if we could just limit some of it or pause some of it or stretch more of it out, that's one of the things we'll be fighting for as Senate Republicans here these coming couple of weeks, is to get more real relief through more of a reality-based energy policy, and our state desperately needs it. So I appreciate you listening, paying attention, and advocating and speaking out. Thank you for the opportunity to serve you. Please feel free to reach out to me, and have a great weekend.